Hey guys, what's up? We're back with another shop update video. It's been a long time since I've done a shop update video, so I'm pretty pumped to do another one. John Shaver's 60 truck is ready to go back on the chassis, so we're gonna do that today. It's Friday, so Robbie's gonna hang out today, and he's gonna hang out a little bit tomorrow. So it's raining right now, so hopefully tomorrow we can actually take Clay's LS9 BMW Trans swapped OBS out on the street, do some rips, show you how that thing shifts through the gears, and then I'm gonna pull back the curtain a little bit and show you what I've been up to on Ray in my free time. So we'll see kind of what's been done and kind of give you some information on what's to come in the next full Ray video. So without further ado, let's get after it. Before we drop the body on, I kind of give you a little overview of what we're looking at. This is a Roadster Shop Slam spec chassis on airbags. So this one will lay the frame on the ground. It's got an LT4 with a GM 4L80E from Bowler in it. It's got Forge Line 20s on it, and these are their three-piece forged OE1 wheels. So these can be used with an OE center cap if you wanted to do that. We're kind of going for a little more of like a hot rod vibe, so we're not going to put center caps on these wheels. I think they're 20 by 12s in the back, and then I think 20 by 9s in the front. So I think it's a 275, 345s in the rear. So quite a bit of tire, but we got quite a bit of power. This is a GM crate LT4, and the only thing that we've done to it is we put upgraded bricks in it. We did a different lid just for cosmetics. It's got the OE pulley size. Kong ported the blower. Bigger throttle body, ultimate headers, 2-inch primary headers. We also installed one of the PowerMaster alternators that we keep in stock on this accessory drive. This is Holley's mid-mount. Well, I don't even know if you call it a mid-mount, but this is the Holley accessory drive for an LT4, so it adds the power steering pump. And then we have had a lot of issues with the Holley alternators, so we went ahead and yanked it and then put one of the PowerMaster alternators on it, and then we did the math on the pulley ratio and we put one of our larger diameter alternator pulleys on it as well, and it just fits in this frame. So we didn't want to do a 10-speed on this. We wanted it to feel more like an older build in that it has like a really firm shifting 4-speed in it. I know 10 speeds are great, but this was just a preference thing, what we wanted it to feel like and what we wanted it to drive like. So Bowler built us one of their 1,000 horsepower capable 4L80s. So it's got all the goodies inside of it. It's got a Circle D triple disc billet converter. And then we've got a Rick's tank in it. And then this one has got the ZL1 pump hanger, but it's got a Hellcat pump in it, controlled by a VaporWorks controller, so it does pulse width modulate the pump, so it'll run the pump up and down. So running this bigger pump does away with a boosted pump. Back in the day, people were just using normal ZL1 pumps or ZR1 pumps, and then a boosted pump to kind of overdrive them, so we did away with all that and just put a bigger pump in it. So it's pretty neat. They run their own fuel pressure sending unit, so it sees line pressure before the high pressure pump, and it can raise and lower the duty cycle of the pump. And so it also sees MAP and something else from the ECU, so pretty cool. We built this little cargo area that goes under the bed. It's kind of like a trunk, and it's just mainly built to just kind of store all the stuff, all the mechanics of the air ride system, and then we put that pump controller in there.
So both compressors are in here, the battery's in here, the ECU for the air ride's in here. This is the fuel pump controller, so it speeds up and slows down the fuel pump. But then the main breaker that kills the entire power to the whole truck is in here. And then there's a breaker for each compressor, so they're divorced. And then there's a separate relay for each compressor too. So any of that stuff can be accessed from just lifting up that section of the bed floor. You know, if you needed to pull this entire thing, you could literally just unhook the airbag or the air lines, and you could unplug the connectors and undo the battery cables from it and just pull this whole thing off too.
I know there's a lot more fancy ways to do this, but we were looking for a way to plumb the air ride and put all the power stuff in a way that would last here for forever and ever. The only thing that we did to the chassis that wasn't standard is we pulled like the part store shocks that come on the Roadster Shop Chassis, and we put RideTech single adjustables on the chassis. So he will have some dampening control, which will be really kind of nice. There's a really, really pretty stainless exhaust system underneath it. It kicks out kind of just underneath the back bumper, so it's pretty much hidden. That tells you everything about what you see here. I'm pretty excited to see what this body looks like back on now. back forward a bit. Oop. Come backwards still. Hold up, Bill Joe. Let me check this out. This is the engine and transmission harness. All that stuff mounts up under the floor here. So we've already put a hole here and mounting holes for a grommet that'll seal this up. I hope this all fits through here. Hold on, Dylan, let me have some of that. Can you let us down a little bit?
Sure.
Okay.
Because this is driven off a camshaft. So if we jam it down in there too.
So we're gonna take the big 9/16 bolts and drop them through here so we can get a good idea of how well we're lined up. Frame's gotta go backwards an inch. All right, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna go hang out with Ray over there for a second while these guys install the glass. If you guys need anything, holler at us. We're probably gonna go over in the other shop, just over there. So for the past few weekends, I've been in here working pretty hard, and I think the last time you guys saw me, I had brought the frame in when you were here, Robbie.
Yep.
And it was all sandblasted. Really the only thing that I've done to the frame that you can see is we've got the Tinworks inner stiffener installed. That was mind-blowingly simple and so much structure for the money. Really, really happy with how that went. What I don't have installed on it yet is the rear X part. And I think that's because I'm gonna have to cut out my frame and replace the notches that I have in there now. They're not big enough for the ride height that I want. So I'm gonna redo the notches, and then I've been plotting all the suspension geometry. So you guys can see, like, I've got some stuff laying out here just for you to see, but I've got RideTech upper and lowers, and so what I'm trying to do is find X, Y, Z of every point. So the lower control arm, front and rear pickup points, the ball joint location, and all this stuff's at ride height. So what I've done is set the frame at 2.2 degrees. So it's got a little bit of a rake on the frame, and then I know what the ride height will be, which is 3 inches from the bottom of the frame at front, and then it's, I think, 3 1/4 inches off the ground at the back of the frame, kind of like right behind the cab. So on paper, then, like, I know where the center of all 4 hubs is going to be, and so, you know, the height would be X, you know, and then how far out from center line, and then you draw a line in front of the truck, like an imaginary line, and from that line, that would be your 0 point, and then I'll measure back, you know, that'll be my front to back measurement. So that's my X, Y, Z. So I've been trying to plot every single X, Y, Z point on the front and rear suspension. The rear suspension is all in software, and we know all that. The lower control arms you guys saw, we had those from RideTech. They built those lower control arms in the length that I want. And really it worked out, those lower brackets that I got from them, the third hole from the bottom is perfect for the ride height that I want to get the lower bar at the angle that I want. So that's worked out really good. So the only thing I have to do is put the third link, the upper link in the rear. And so really the rear 3 link is gonna be pretty simple. It's all plotted out pretty well. It's just gonna be in a position to where it wouldn't fit under a stock bed floor. So we'll get into all that in that later video. The front is a little more in-depth because I'm gonna have to relocate the upper control arm, inner pickup points, and then I'm using a spindle that's not really available anymore, so I'm having to replace the upper ball joints with a ball joint that I want. So anyways, there's some more stuff going on in the front, and then I don't have a steering box yet. So as soon as I can get the steering box in, then we can plot where the pitman arm falls and where the tie rod end falls, and then if I need to build a different drag length. So it's going really well, but I only have, you know, a few hours a week to mess with this thing. So it's been really fun. I just hope you guys are patient with me. If we have to, we can break this video up in a couple. That way at least you could see how the install went of the Tinworks center stiffener, and maybe we can break it up into plotting the rear, and we'll show you the rear if it ends up taking much more longer. But this has been really fun. It's also forced me to download Fusion 360, and I've been kind of like teaching myself at nights, like watch YouTube videos, learn how to use Fusion, and that way I feel like I'm getting a better grasp of software and geometry and putting it all in software. So it's really been fun. I think you guys are going to be really intrigued by how the process works. It's not that it's overly complicated, it just takes time to plot everything and then you know, find a software on the internet that'll tell you like where things should be to make it optimal. But we'll get all that pretty deep into all that stuff in this next video. It's gonna be awesome. The only other thing to show you right now is the motor. I haven't really done anything major to the motor other than clean it up and replace a bunch of like stock accessory drive parts with new stuff. And I obviously Cerakoted the whole motor, which Cerakote's like a miracle drug. It fixes everything. It looks amazing. It just had some black spray paint on it. So me and Charlie one Saturday, he didn't have as much fun as I did, but we sanded and scuffed this whole motor and taped it off together and shot Cerakote. So it looks a lot better. I was able to keep the truck accessory drive, and with the help of a couple companies, just through searching around the internet, came up with a pretty good accessory drive that's based on all truck stuff. They had like a smaller crank pulley, so I put a stock truck pulley back on it, and then I put the stock bracket back on it. But I want to put the upper water inlet on the radiator like on this side, so I wanted to ditch the factory truck water pump because it usually has that upper hose coming out this way. So I found that Holley makes, which is pretty much a copy of like a CTS-V water pump, it's just deeper, so they extend the rear runners. Back in the day, people used to take those pumps and you could buy like a spacer and multiple gaskets to space them out, but Holley went ahead and made one that's longer. So I got one of those from Holley and I put it on here. It gets the belt alignment just right. But what it does is this idler pulley is usually right here, so it's in the way of this pump. But there's a company on the internet, Quick Performance, KWIK. They make this kit. It's like 40 bucks, and it comes with a longer bolt, which there's already a bolt here. So you just get a longer bolt, you get a machined spacer, they give you a new pulley and everything. So it relocates the idler. So the belt will come around the pump, back around here, alternator, water pump, tensioner, and then back down. So I have an accessory drive that I'm really pretty happy with for not a lot of money. I did replace the alternator now because we've had so many stock alternator problems in previous years that I went right to my go-to, which I know will never fail me, and that's a PowerMaster alternator. This PowerMaster alternator is the stock truck replacement. The only thing I did is I just had them send it to me with a 3-inch pulley, so it'll slow it down when I get to like 7,000 RPM. It won't over RPM the alternator and burn it down. So that's on, and then I'm waiting for a new power steering pump to come in from Turn 1. Turn 1's building me a pump that'll fit the truck accessory drive bracket that is a road race pump built with a lot of good internals, so it'll last for a long time. So accessory drive's wrapped up, and then I got on Summit Racing, and Summit Racing had everything else that I needed to get the motor dressed up. I bought like the Earl's steam line kit or steam tube plumbing kit. I got the carbon PTR intake manifold. I got a Nick Williams cable drive throttle body, and then Summit Racing had all the other little goodies that I needed, like IAC, TPS, they had the hardware kit. I can't even remember what I bought. Oh, and this is cool. They had this. This is a low-car billet dipstick replacement. So instead of the cheapy yellow plastic, they make this black anodized billet dipstick. So I had to have that. All this black and gray and red, I didn't want some bright yellow dipstick here. So it's been kind of fun to hop in here every once in a while and just throw a couple little pieces on to make this look better. It's been a lot of gratification for not a lot of work. Oh, coil packs. These are our valve covers. I put our valve covers on here, but I welded big -10 ORB bungs on them. And you guys see I put the -10 radium fittings on there. They're swivel, so that's actually really cool. So I'm gonna run -10s out of the valve covers to my radium catch can that's vent to atmosphere with dash 10 plumbing from Fergola. But with these valve covers, they've got the coil pack covers, and the stock truck coils won't fit under these. So I got on Summit Racing, and Summit Racing had an 8-pack of like the LS7 style coils. So I got 8 of those, and then I got 1 spare to keep in my spare tote for when I go racing. I've got 1 spare plug wire, 1 spare coil, put new plug wires on it, new plugs, and I think the motor's ready to go. So we'll get this off here. I'm kind of excited to get this mocked up in the frame and get the cab on and stuff. It'll probably give me some more initiative to keep driving hard to get it done. But anyways, that's really about all the stuff that I've got done today. It doesn't look like much, but it's probably like 30 hours of free time. So be patient. That new video is coming, and it'll be worth it. We're also bringing friends in from out of town that are really good at suspension geometry. So they're gonna have it all plotted in software, and we'll be able to get in the software and show you guys exactly how all that works. So anyways, that's Ray. I hope you guys are pumped about it. I know I'm super pumped.
This is an incredible truck.
Jesse, I'm creeping on you. You want to do a ride in this thing?
Let's go for it, man. I'm ready.
Oh, let's do it. You want to crank this thing up? Let's show them what it sounds like. Oh yeah, we in here now. You excited about this little run?
I am, yeah. So just so all of you guys know, like, this isn't done, all the tuning's not done, but I kind of wanted to just show you like where we're at with it, and I think that you'll be pumped to see like what the potential of this transmission is. Like, that's mainly the thing what we got going on here. So it's a crate dry sump LS9. It's got a little pulley, and then it's got a BMW dual clutch 7-speed transmission. So they're manual transmissions that are electronically shifted. So between the engine and the transmission, there's not a torque converter and there's not a clutch and flywheel. All there is it's a bit of a flywheel that's got splines on it. So it directly couples the transmission, the BMW transmission, and the GM motor. So it's kind of interesting. I've learned so much about this. I love this transmission, but you have to understand that it is a manual transmission, and there is a computer that's trying to apply a clutch internally in the transmission. So the thing that I'm working on now and struggling a little bit with is what we call take up, and it's when you let off the brake, the transmission's computer sees that, and what it does is starts to ramp up line pressure and apply those clutches. And it's a computer allowing the clutch to slip a bit to get you to take off. So that's the only like little nuancy thing that you might notice in this video, but disregard any of that. Let's just listen to this thing shift. Let's focus on how much fun this can be. All the tuning on the engine's not done either. We're good to about 5,500 RPM, so I'm not gonna like really beat on this thing today, but I wanna drive around the block with you and let you feel what the potential of this is. So if we're talking about ball games, like, I think I'm in like the 4th inning right now of progression.
Okay.
With the transmission tuning. So it has taken a really long time. The software that we're using is HTG, if you guys have a question. It's getting a bit of a bad rap because it's made in Poland. There's not a lot of support.
AC on blast, baby.
Yeah, sorry. There's not a lot of support, but I have like literally the best calibrator, or one of the best calibrators for Motec in the country that's helping me with this. And I have a pretty good understanding of how this works too. So we've just been trying to be patient and work through the software, and it's working pretty good. But one of the last things that we're gonna do is the transmission computer is gonna have control over the drive-by-wire throttle. The ECU will be able to manipulate it as well, but the transmission computer will be able to blip the throttle between shifts, and then it sends timing through CAN message, and so the blips and cuts, so to speak, aren't done yet. So it will have a bit of a delay between shifts, and I'm manually kind of letting off the throttle a little bit. So anyways, let's just go for a drive.
Let's do it.
So one thing to pay attention to is the way that we're shifting this transmission is with a CAN bus keypad. So I've got it set to where it's park, reverse, and drive. This can be changed in the transmission software, how you get through the gears or how you put it in drive. I don't have the automatic shifting turned on right now, but in the future you'll be able to hit this and it'll do automatic mode, so the computer will change through all the gears up and down. But right now, what we do is here, you can look at the screen. So this is the Motec C1212 dash, and what we did is we've got messaging coming from the transmission computer. So I'll put it in gear with drive, and then I'll be able to shift up and down with the paddles manually. So letting off the brakes, and the computer applies the clutch. And now we're in first gear.
So I know there's been quite a bit of a learning curve on this, as you just talked about, but what's been your favorite part of kind of digging in on this?
Learning something new.
Yeah.
As with anything, man, like, it's a bit of a pain, you know, because sometimes you have to do something, learn something, fix something, and go again. But so far, like, I'm not having to redo anything quite yet. I think that there's improvements that we might make. But a lot of it, I think, will get sorted out when we get all the tuning done. So that's fourth gear. There's 2 of these transmissions available, and they have different gear ratios. I don't remember exactly what the first gear is in this one. It's a 4 something. The reason why it's like that is so that when the ECU takes up, it's not applying the clutches and trying to make it roll at 30 miles an hour. You know, so it's a bit of like a granny low, so to speak. You know, it puts it in first and kind of can roll out, and then you can shift up through your gears. And then 7th gear, or our final gear, is 1-to-1. So that's a little bit of a challenge. What we did is we bought an old NASCAR ring and pinion that was slightly used, and it's a 275-to-1 gear ratio.
Very cool.
Yep.
Okay. Freaking thing sounds good, man.
It's one of the coolest sounding trucks yet.
Yeah.
So I'm rolling 6th at like 55 miles an hour. Think about that.
I sure do love it.
So we went around that corner, merging onto the the highway in 3rd gear. I just rolled into it, and now we're in 7th gear. So we paddled up through 7th gear, 70 miles an hour at 2,300 probably. I hope you guys really appreciate this gauge cluster. This is a Motec piece. And it comes with like standard gauges that are, you know, very digital and basic. But my friend Taz, Good Sir Creative, he went and used the Motec software that's called Display Creator, and he totally designed these gauges to look similar to like a newer Silverado. And they turned out awesome.
They sure did.
And so with this rotary keypad, I can roll through here, and we've got multiple pages. So like on page 1, we can display certain amounts of information, and then page 2, we can bring additional information in. So if you want to look at intake air temp, supercharger water temp, you know, anything, you can just cycle through different pages.
So rad. And we got the pops. Tell you what, this is a bit of a nostalgic place right here since we filmed some yellow and white truck stuff here.
We've been around here quite a bit. I love this transmission. Well, you guys remember the yellow and white truck had a full sequential, so it was a real race car part. You know, it had straight cut gears, it was really loud. The theory with us using this transmission is that on a road course, you could get the same kind of raw feel, but you could put it in automatic mode, you could drive home, and it's quiet.
Yeah.
In a couple months, this one will be really good, and I think that the next ones we do will be better and better, and just like anything, it's just, we'll get it sorted.
Well, it definitely feels like it's got that, you know, more of that. You got the perfect blend of like race truck or performance truck and import, you know, paddle shifted, quick response type feel.
So I'm distracted by how awesome it sounds.
Oh, it's all good, man. Let's listen to it for a minute.
God, I love this truck.
Yeah, me too, man.
So you feel how engaged there, kind of hard?
Oh, yeah.
Yep, so that's the thing that I'm wrapping my head around, how to make it more streetable.
And that's the cut and blip part, right?
I think that will help. We put really aggressive clutches in this thing. These clutches are made to hold like 1,500 horsepower.
Oh, yeah.
So the compound is aggressive. They're ceramic. So when they get temperature in them, they're gonna want to bite pretty hard.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's a friction thing, right? So,
sure.
And then there's no dampening between the engine and the transmission at all. You know?
Yeah, so crazy.
When the computer decides to engage the clutches, we're going.
Yeah.
You know, so one thing that I'm trying to wrap my head around is, can we have the transmission computer slowly apply the pressure?
Yeah.
Like, because right now, if you look at the calibration, it ramps in the pressure for the clutches pretty quick, and it's doing it on purpose so that you don't slip them much.
Right, right.
You know, so they're trying to make the discs last forever. But I only need it to do that, you know, like when it takes off in first.
Yeah.
Just slowly progress the pressure in. The other thing that we can do is, I did put a traditional clutch pedal in the truck, and it has a potentiometer that I put on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I put a spring, it's not turned on right now, but I have a heavy duty spring on it to simulate like clutch hydraulics. And with that potentiometer, the transmission computer will know clutch position. So we may have to, like when you take off in first, or if you're in traffic, you may want to use the clutch pedal to progressively let off, so that it might slowly ramp up the line pressure.
Oh, I see. Just make your drivability a little better.
I mean, I think drivability will be great. The only thing that I have any concern about is, like, he lives in Austin, so like, what if he got caught in traffic after work one day for an hour? Yeah. You know, those clutches are gonna be hot, and the hotter they get, the more they wanna bite. So like, if the computer's still trying to do that where it's applying the clutch in first real quick, like, it might get old. Like, oh, this thing's like trying to, you know, it's hard to creep through traffic.
Yeah, I see.
You know?
DCT Trans is out of a BMW. You can tell what series and all that, I'm sure, but did they do that in those cars, or was there some way around it for them also that you just explained that I missed?
So they had different discs, and then they did have a sprung hub.
Okay.
Yeah, so the connection between the engine and the transmission from BMW had big giant springs in it.
Gotcha.
So it had a torsional damper.
Gotcha.
So now the aftermarket is coming in, and they're manufacturing torsional dampers now. This was a solid connection. This is a 9-bolt flywheel, so I don't know if I can even get a torsional damper yet for a 9-bolt crank.
I mean, tell folks how this is like maybe not first to first, but first to first in a truck or something. You know,
there's just a handful of people that are doing these successfully right now, and I don't know of any dude that is really trying to make it streetable. Like all the dudes that are putting DCTs in are really like drift cars or time attack cars or stuff like that. And this transmission could take a beating, and we've got clutches. I mean, it's a manual transmission, so I mean, as long as the clutches are applied with pressure and they're good clutches, like it can hold. So on the road course, it's great. But like the thing that we're trying to make it do is like have more street manners, which even people say that like the stock 3 Series and 5 Series, they're pretty ill-mannered as factory cars, and that's BMW spending $1 million on R&D, millions of dollars on R&D over years. There is a huge learning curve.
This is not like just LS or LT swaps. I mean, this is or T56 Magnum to actually be more accurate. Like this is a different ball game. You're wading into something, and you've gotten this far into something that just isn't being done.
And I'll tell you, like, if this was my truck, this is the transmission I want.
I love it.
Every time I want this transmission because I will want to race my stuff, and then I would want to take Sean to dinner or something. So this is the transmission that I would want.
It feels so different from any normal automatic or any normal manual transmission.
For sure.
I mean, it's just not. It feels race car-ish, but it also feels, and I know you're not even there, but it feels controllable and like there is a lot of streetable use out of this.
So anyways, dudes, I hope that you see the potential of this. I hope that you see that I'm pumped about this technology. It costs something, you know, like this stuff's not cheap. We're controlling it with Motec. We're doing some advanced stuff, but like I'm really pumped at the potential of what we have here and like where we're going in the future. Hopefully in a couple more trucks, like we'll have some really killer drivetrain options for drivetrains or project trucks or whatever. So yeah, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions about this, feel free to comment below. Don't beat me up about how much it cost or how long this is taking.
It's new territory stuff, man.
Just be excited to learn something. See you later. Hey guys, Dylan and I are putting together another No Limit chassis, and I wanted to take a second to just explain one of the coilover options that we use with our chassis. This is a RideTech coilover. What's different about this coilover is that it is a remote reservoir coilover, so it has more fluid capacity. The fluid can stay cooler for longer, and this one has 3 different finite adjustments on it. It has rebound control here on the end of the stroke, on the end of the shock, and then it's got high and low speed compression adjustment on the end of the reservoir. We put these together in a specific way. I invert these coilovers to keep the body of the shock mounted to the vehicle. We do that just because it's less unsprung weight. So we'll install these in what would be kind of like a reverse order. We do use a Torrington bearing, which is easier to make adjustment on the coilover. It's not trying to turn the spring while you're turning the adjuster. This is a 0 rate spring or a take-up spring or a helper spring. What this does is it keeps the spring from flopping around when you lift the truck up like on a lift or on a set of jack stands. This is just a Delrin spring divider, and then this is your main spring. So this is what carries the weight of the vehicle. In this case, this is an 850 pound rate spring, and it's for the front of a No Limit chassis, or you could also use these on a No Limit wide ride. Well, you could use it on whatever you want, but that's the application we're using. These go together really simple. All you do is you put the springs on, put the locking clip on top, and then the top hat just locks into the coil spring or to the little clip there. So you can see here what the take-up spring does. So imagine this is at full stroke. You're on a lift and the wheel and tire drop down or sag. The spring isn't flopping loose. This 0 rate spring is taking up that gap. And so when you would compress the shock, it just maxes out that spring, and then you're on this rate of the main spring. So anyways, this is just one of the coilovers. This is one of the shock options available on a No Limit chassis. If you guys have any questions about shocks or No Limit chassis, feel free to shoot me an email. Thanks a lot. The glass guys just left, and they got the windshield and the back glass installed in 1 hour. I'm embarrassed to say that Dylan and I tried for an hour or more. and no luck at all. We usually have pretty good luck, like 67 to 72s and square bodies. Me and Dylan can get pretty good, but they just straight embarrassed us. So as I was talking earlier, this is the solid black rubber, which we think this like lower option truck would have had. It did not have any trim on it. And then if you guys want to look in the back, since it was ordered with the big back window, it's a deluxe window, so it has the deluxe trim, which I love it. Do you like it?
I love it.
I love it too. I love it too.
Dude, it looks so good.
Yeah.
They did a killer job.
They did a good job. And this is the green tint glass that matches the windshield and the doors too. So, gosh, I love it.
Yeah, me too.
I'm getting ready to move this bed over there because Dylan and I just hooked up all the wiring. So all the ECU stuff that ran up and went inside the truck, that's done and all connected to all the hangers we had made. And then the chassis wiring plugged into the bulkheads that drop out the bottom of the cab. So now we're gonna take this bed and move it over here.
I hope you guys are tired because it's bedtime.
So we're gonna take this bed and lift it all the way up there.
Ask you something?
Don't remember why I came.
Okay, let us go down a little sooner than you. Come forward. Are we on? I'm all the way down here.
I'm glad we didn't tighten this cab down.
It's all messed up.
Yeah. Can you tell me if this bed needs to go backwards? Look down in the hole. This corner's high and that corner's low.
Okay.
We had a big black washer under one of these.
One side has a big washer. I bet you they're supposed to
Be the other way around.
be. Yeah.
Paint or you'll scratch it. That was a joke because it's enough. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us the last couple days. Hope you got to have a little bit of insight onto where we're at with some of these big projects. John Shaver's truck, aka Razor Haven on Instagram. We put the body on and I could not be more pumped about this. You guys know we don't build a lot of airbag trucks, but this one's been fun. John's been a really fun customer and he's been super patient. Everything has had to be just right between both me and him. Like, we wanted things just right. The paint just right. The wheels had to be just right. And so we've really taken our time on this project and it's paying off. Like, this thing looks good. I'm pumped. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching us put the body on. I hope you enjoyed watching us take Clay's truck for a little bit of a drive, and hope you got pumped about Ray. So anyways, thank you guys for this little bit of a shop update video. Hopefully the next one that's coming is that big suspension tech video on Ray. So anyways, hope y'all are gonna have a good one. See ya. That was a dumb outro. See you on the next one.